good evening, South Africa. And if you're watching us from outside of South Africa, welcome. It's Mondays. Yay! I think I should have, what do you call them? Ping pong girls, cheerleaders. Cheerleaders, in the background for Mondays, because I always get excited with Mondays. I always say, Mondays belong to the ladies. Ladies. I hope you've had a successful, productive day. And I wish you, a productive week going ahead. It's the First Ladies Corner. I'm sorry, ladies. I had to bring him back. I know. I had to bring him back.
So thank you for having me. This is the second episode of the First Ladies Corner, and we are going to try to then give you a conclusion on the 7 reasons why he will not propose. And I know Barbara has a lot more to say today, and most probably we will then touch on the other points.
Yeah. So we are going to finalize on the last 2 points for 7 reasons why he will not propose. And then we are going to touch on a subject that is very, very, very close to my heart. And, I asked, Kenneth Molefe Senior to come and sit down with me, because this is a subject that we've hosted before. We've had discussions around it. And this has to do with gender-based violence. This is a subject that's very close to my heart. And the reason why that is because, I don't want to say that I'm a victim of gender-based violence, but it's a subject that I'm familiar with, all right? Because, I'm an overcomer. I don't want to think myself as a victim, although, I was victimized in that sense.
That's right.
All right? So I would like us to touch on that topic that says the abuse, the abuser, and the abused, and then just to delve into some details and see if we can help out, our ladies out there. And I do know, we always say that abuse is not one-sided, right? We understand that a male can experience abuse.
Yeah.
But in this instance, because this is a women's show,
we want to talk about women.
We're going to talk about women and the kind of abuse that women go through. All right. So, do you want to maybe touch on the last two reasons why listen, we've had such a good feedback with what we shared from our last, and thank you so much. And
some of our well-known celebrities have, they all communicated with us. We had about 3 of them who then talked to us, and we were so happy. We thought 7,000 is probably some, group of people in Kuala Lumpur or somewhere.
Yeah.
But it looks like people are really listening.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's very imperative, it's very important that this kind of content gets to the people.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm so excited about the impact.
And before we go any further, do you want to share with the people, because I think it's also very important. Do you want to share with the people what we were up to today?
So today, the Barbara Taylor Molefe Foundation and Kenneth Molefe Holdings, in partnership, had a charity project, that we call Project Feed the Poor and Clothe the Naked.
Yeah.
It was such a successful day. And I want to take this opportunity and say, really, thank you for carrying the burden. And Barbara always asks me, why is it that every time we've had a charity event, I look depressed? It's because I realize that the work is great.
Yeah.
And what we have, can only reach so far.
Yeah.
Because there's so much that needs to be done.
Yeah.
It depresses me. At the same time, I feel privileged, I feel excited, but it really depresses me in a good way. you know, because then I realize, you know, why it's important for us to keep doing what we're doing, you know, because sometimes when you're running a big company like KMH and its subsidiaries, you're only, you know, exposed to what's happening around you. But then when you then, you know, get to reach out to other people, then you realize why you really need the money, why you really need, you know, all of these contracts that we handle through our different, you know, companies. And as the CEO, as the president of Barbara Taylor Molefe Foundation, I want to say thank you.
Thank you.
You know, for giving KMH that opportunity to reach out to the people, you know. And very soon we are going to be launching the Kenneth Molefe Educational Fund, you know, and that will do with taking some people to school and taking other people, you know, through varsity and making sure that they have the right uniform, the right shoes, and all of that. And I'm really, really grateful. I'm really grateful.
I remember when we, you know, when we had the discussion around the, when we were driving to Rustenburg, and then when we had the discussion around the Kenneth Molefe Educational Fund, and how, you know, Kenneth wanted to adopt children from an earlier age, adoption in the sense of taking care of their educational needs from primary school to secondary school, and then seeing them off to university.
That's right.
Because, you know, I know one thing that you always talk about is how, you know, as much as we can't change the whole world, but it is important to maybe focus and zone in on that one individual, and then try to change that one individual's life, you know, make that certain individual a project and whatnot. So we're really grateful. And I do know that you know, through your connections, like you said, you know, Kenneth Molefe Holdings has had to, you know, foot the bill as far as the foundation is concerned. But we are, you know, very happy to announce that through your connections, the Woolworths has agreed to be a partner with us.
So what they have said is they want to come into partnership with Kenneth Molefe Holdings together with Barbara Taylor Molefe Foundation, so that, you know, some of the costs that, you know, that we cannot cover, then they will then cover. You know, some of the food products that we've been buying ourselves, then they will. So it's like a 50-50 partnership. Kenneth Molefe will still be using its money to make sure that all of these projects are a success, and Woolworth South Africa will be joining us. So exciting. big ups to Woolies.
All right. Back to the ladies.
Back to the ladies.
Why will he not marry me? Reason number 6.
Oh, so sometimes, you know, remember we were talking about suitability. And I said that one of the reasons why men will not propose to a certain group of women is because they are not legacy-minded. They have instant gratification mentality. And that is, they all care about the now. They all care about the now. Do we look good now? Do we have matching shoes now? Do you buy me dresses for that wedding and that baby shower and that gathering and all of that? And because they are all, you know, instant and immediate, you know, gratification minded, so then a man would not be interested in that, because, you know, every time you don't have some sort of a legacy kind of a thought pattern, you become a turn-off. I know that you're just about the now. So that's one of the reasons why men would not propose to a certain group of women, is because they are not legacy-minded. One of the reasons why, Barbara, I married you is because we were concerned about the future. All right? And when I then had a conversation with you, it was about the next generation. Because I know that to a certain extent, I was put in certain positions because somebody made a decision. I was, you know, compromised. I was exploited. You know, I only got to really achieve what I want because I made the right decisions. And I had to do that consistently for a period of time because somebody never had a chance or a position to make decisions for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I have nothing from my from my father's generation to take to my children, and I had to solve that.
Yeah.
So if I was going to be married, then I needed somebody who has a similar kind of mindset. And I love what you said to me. You said that your father was an entrepreneur and he worked so hard, and therefore the reason why you and your brother had a particular mindset and have come to a particular level in life was because of his impact.
Yes.
But I never had that.
Yeah.
So if I was going to be married, I had to be married to somebody that has that kind of mentality so that immediately we start building the family. We know why we're doing what we're doing. I mean, today, the reason why we take all of our children to our charity events is so that they can get to learn about generosity.
That's right.
Giving back to the people.
Yes.
It's not about us, it's about the next generation.
That's right.
You understand? And that's why I even had a conversation with our firstborn, and I said to her, the reason why we worked so hard in the corporate world in our businesses is so that we have then the capacity to be able to give to the other people. The reason why we are not comfortable with being comfortable is because we don't just want to take care of our family, we want to be able to take care of communities.
That's right.
And we want to grow to a place where we actually now are able to fund countries. If there is a poverty, what you may call a poverty situation, or there is serious economic crisis in certain places in Africa, because this is where we need to start. We're not going to another country.
Yeah.
It all starts here.
Yeah.
But then we have to start in the Northwest, where I come from. We have to go to Limpopo, where she comes from, make sure that we are impactful there and it grows from there until we are able to touch the entire Africa.
Yeah.
That is the whole idea. So the reason why somebody like me made a commitment was because I realized that you have a generational kind of mindset. Because true prosperity, I said this to you many times,
yes.
true prosperity has to do with the greater posterity.
And that's our
if it cannot
slogan.
go to, yes, that's our company slogan. If it cannot go from one generation to the other, it's riches, it's not wealth.
Yeah.
So one of the greatest signs of wealth is being able to take care of systems you never put in place in the first place, societies you never gave birth to in the first place, families that you're not connected to in the first place.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And that is the whole idea.
Yeah.
That is the whole idea. So that's one of the reasons why men do not propose, is because women, most women, and some women, they have an instant gratification kind of mindset. They all care about taking me to restaurants. They all care about, making sure that, I'm at wherever, you're taking me out on holidays and all of that. They're not thinking generationally.
You know what you just said then reminds me because I know that when we talk all the time, we are always concerned about how do we deal with this problem from the root, right? From the root level. Now, as ladies, so I know the kind of relationship that I've had with my dad. And it's the kind of relationship that has then benefited my marriage right now.
That's right, yeah.
All right? So there is a lot to be said about fathers, all right? About fathers raising girls and girls to then have the right mentality. You understand?
Oh, that is so true.
Girls to know their worth. Because I tell you, I mean, the kind of affirmation words that my father would say to myself, unbelievable. The kind of reassurance that he would give me as a girl, the kind of instructions and the kind of guidance, that's priceless. I would never trade that for anything.
Yeah.
And I suppose also, let me not be rude, let me congratulate you on your Man Cave show.
Thank you.
That's doing very well. That's conversations with men. So I suppose that's where now men need to be taught how to relate to the girls, so that then the girl really knows her worth, so that, you know, she does not end up being somebody who's not really concerned about legacy, because that's something that you get to be taught.
Yeah.
You understand? So you need to be legacy minded, because we can say, you know, he's not marrying you because you're not legacy minded, but one number two, where did she learn about legacy?
She learn all of that, yeah.
You understand? Where did she learn about legacy? They need to be taught. And that's why we need our fathers to take their positions.
Yeah.
And which is one of the reasons why we're also going to talk about the topic of the abused, the abuser, and the abused. You understand? Because the enemy has really tainted the position of the man in society or in the family.
Yeah.
You know, because once that's displaced, it then displaces the whole family. You know, it then displaces the whole family. So, ladies, you got to be legacy minded. Now you know what it is. You know, so you don't have an excuse anymore. All right, you don't have an excuse anymore. Yours is to try and find out what is. How do I then get to have a legacy mind? All right, how do I then get to have a legacy mind? The last one for why he would not marry me.
Yeah, so there are so many reasons, but the reason why we've put the 7 together is because we then have to then come to specifics, you know. But there's so many other reasons. I'll give you quick reasons right now, just in passing, so that we can move to the next topic. Number one, the reason why he has not proposed sometimes is because he has not accomplished his career goals yet. Okay. All right. And sometimes it's because he does not feel financially secure. And number 3, he's unsure about your future together. Why? Because your conversations really, you know, sometimes are of no substance. You have not had a conversation about the future together. You have not taken time to have real conversations about the future. You have not taken time to talk about what is it that you're trying to accomplish together. And the 4th reason could be he's resistant to the reality of marriage. The responsibility that comes with marriage. Yeah. And everything. You understand what I'm saying? So I just wanted to just pass by there. But then lastly, here is one of the reasons why he would not propose. He's probably gay. Sure. And sometimes men have a proclivity to be in relationships with women publicly so that they feel covered. Okay. But then privately, then he's we call it digging and diving. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I know you're probably thinking, whew. Don't be gay. So don't be gay. You know, I like, what kind of a reason is that? It is a reason. Some men are just gay, you know. You find that... some men are battling with the spirit of, I call it the spirit of gayness. You know, homosexuality. Yeah, homosexuality. By the way, the Lord once said this to me. He said to me, as it relates to homosexuality, most men who are struggling with homosexuality sometimes is because they don't know how to deal with the feminine reality of their manhood. They don't know how to handle it. You understand what I'm saying? They realize there's a feminine, a feminine reality to their manhood, and therefore, because they're so scared of it, they end up falling for it. Yes. They're so scared to understand that I come from a woman, and therefore there's going to be women tendencies as it relates to my manhood. And there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, I have some of my friends who are pastors who talk like women. And they're into women, but they talk like women. They have feminine voices. You know what I'm saying? They have feminine tendencies. They flip hands and they do all of that. And because I understand that we all are feminine, but masculine. You know, we all have a touch of feminine. The reason why God allowed that to happen is so that we can have a relationship with women.
Yes.
Now, just imagine, if I don't have a feminine reality to my manhood,
then you cannot
how will I then have a relationship with you?
Yes.
Because the ability of a man to connect with a woman is because there's a bit of a woman inside of him. You understand what I'm saying? So sometimes the topic of homosexuality is so exaggerated out of context, and it's so superstitious that it scares people, and people don't want to talk about it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there are women who are very masculine. They have like deep voices, and when that kind of a woman is with her man, sometimes you would think the woman is the man.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that, because
just that the masculinity is heightened.
It's heightened.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they know biologically I am a man, and the other one knows I'm biologically a woman. You understand? So the reason why, you know, some people end up practicing homosexuality, it's because they have not been made comfortable to understand that it's okay to have a feminine voice. It's okay to look like a woman. And you are a man. You come out of a woman. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons. I just think that the black community needs to come to a place of social competence. We need to understand, and biological competence. We need to understand some of these things so that we don't then take them out of context.
Isn't it indeed an effect that when one is not educated on a particular subject, or when one does not have knowledge of a particular subject, it then, you know, when it's presented to them, it's then like you know, they reject it. You know, they turn to reject
that's
that.
Right.
And
that's why most of our preachers today, you know, they cannot deal with the subject matter. It's because of incompetence. You know, lack of knowledge causes that. You know, lack of understanding causes that. I mean, we hear about Absalom. And we hear about the attributes of his persona and his hair. And how the Bible talks about the texture of his hair and all of that. And those are feminine descriptions. So the guy had feminine looks. We hear about David and how you know, handsome and good looking. And some of those Hebrewistic terminologies are feminine descriptions. You know what I'm saying? And we just need to come to a place where we understand that we all have a bit of a woman in us as men, and we all have a bit of men inside of you. You know? And that's why if a man is not stepping up, you guys, it's so very natural for you to step up.
Definitely.
And do what men should be doing.
Men should be doing.
You know what I'm saying? If a man would not lead his house, the woman takes over. It's because they have a bit of us in them. And with a bit, they can do much more than one who has the fullness of a thing. You understand? All right, let's go now to the other topic. So sometimes when somebody is proposing, you have to really ask real questions. All right, are you proposing because you're trying to hide something? Do you find men or women attractive? Please do ask questions. Do you find men or women attractive? If he's stuttering and he's not sure whether he finds women or men attractive, or both. Nowadays, this is becoming complex by the day. And he's not able to answer all of that. You better be careful. All right. Because some of these boys' gatherings is a bunch of nonsense. You'll be amazed what some of these husbands do with their friends. You understand? So we need help.
All right. Yes. So we are now going to talk about the abuse, all right? The abuser and the abused, all right? Now, you know, gender-based violence is definitely a reality, and not only in South Africa, but in the whole world, you know. And, you know, the Bible says that Jesus Christ died to come and give us life and life in abundance.
Yeah.
And I know you always, explain how that is a quality of life. That is the Zoe life that he came to give us.
The very life of God.
The very life of God.
Yeah.
All right. And there's no way that you'll tell me that you are enjoying an abundant life if you are, subjected to abuse. Right. And one thing that I'll tell you, like I said, is that when you are a woman and you are going through such a situation, you might think, but why can't you just get out of it? Why can't you just? It's a very sensitive situation. It's a situation where I'll tell you, in my case, where you think it's very embarrassing for me to even be going through such a situation. So you end up not even knowing what to do. I remember when I was going through such a situation, when I went and I spoke to one of my colleagues, who was an executive at my ex-workplace. And then, she takes a look at me and then she says to me, Barbara, please, you can't tell me that you're being abused.
Wow.
She you understand? I went to her office, literally crying. And trying to, and you must understand that it takes courage, ne?
In order for you to
walk
go public.
Up and to go and tell that very person, especially now if you are now your status, people see you
social
as
status,
social status. People see you as, oh no, you are well off and
coming out of the mansion, driving the finest car.
You understand?
And all of that,
You die in silence. You die in silence. And this is something that is also happening in our very churches, in our very, very churches.
So most probably, let's do it this way. So you then talk about abuse.
Yes.
And what abuse is in finer details. I mean, one of the reasons why Barbara thought that I should come here and be part of her show is because I've had, first-hand experience with domestic violence. My siblings would tell you that we have seen that, plainly. So our mother is probably, part of what contributed to her death is actually domestic violence. So I have lost a mother because of domestic violence. You understand? And I remember having to hide my siblings because I wouldn't say my stepfather, because they were not married. My mother's boyfriend would beat up my mom so bad. Yeah. And my mom would fight back, and it would be knives. I remember, some of the morning weekends, some of the weekends in the morning, we would have to then be mopping blood, literally, having to clean the house to remove blood stains on the wall and all of that. And that really was so strong, and it was so bad that by the time I was just about to be moved from one school to another in primary school, I remember my mom said to me, now that you're growing and you're trying to then defend me and fight for me when I'm fighting with my man, I will have to then move you out of this house so that you go to my mother's house, who's my grandmother, and live alone. And imagine I'm a primary student during that time. So I had to be kicked out of the house to go live alone as a young boy, simply because I wanted to defend my mother. And she felt like if I was then to be involved in the physical altercations and all of that, that will compromise her relationship. So I started now. My relationship with my mother fell off during that time. You understand? Just when I was about to come to self-consciousness, I was already kicked out of the house because I wanted to defend my mother, who was physically abused. Love, it was so bad. It was so bad that sometimes the blankets that we were sleeping with would be, soaked with blood because it would happen even sometimes on top of us, and I would have to cover my siblings. And the reason why, Barbara, one of the reasons why, even when we met, and then you told me your story about how you were physically abused, because remember, prior to that, I've had to make a covenant with God. I will not allow any woman to be abused like this in my presence.
Now that's before you even continue.
Yeah.
That's something that I wanted to touch right there, because 90% of the time, a male that has grown up, watching his mother, or somebody close to him,
that's right,
going through such an abuse, they automatically turn around
abusers.
to become the abuser themselves. Now, to have, this is one of the things that I really, really thank God for, as it pertains to your life, that you are totally the opposite of that situation. I remember, even when we met.
I hope you're not going to mention that.
Lo and behold. So, because my mind was now, channeled to the abuse, because they abuse you so much that the abuse becomes the norm.
It becomes part of your existence.
It becomes part of your existence. And I remember, when we met and a couple of months down the line, and when we would have arguments, and then in my mind, I was expecting you to be physically assault me, all right? And I'll be very frustrated, like, why are you not beating me? Because, we are fighting. We are fighting. And indeed, and in fact, we would be fighting, and then you would be saying to me, oh, baby, oh, laugh. Oh, I said, what?
What are you talking about? If we are fighting, let's fight.
We are fighting.
Don't come here and call me darling.
Calling me love and darling, and this is like a heated argument. I will get so frustrated.
So I then had to make you understand that in this house, this is how we fight. So one of the things that I will do when we fight is that I will then speak in endearing words, so that you then remember that I'm not fighting against you. I'm fighting for us. You understand what I'm saying? And that's why I'm calling you darling. And that's why I'm calling you, all of that is because I want you to understand and remember the reason why we're dealing with this is because we are fighting for what we have. The Bible says the little foxes is what destroys the vine. So we are then dealing with these little foxes. But then we are the garden. You are not a fox. So I will not treat you like a fox. You understand what I'm saying? And I remember the other time you actually jumped on me and say, beat me now. And I said, no, forget it. Not in this house. I'm not going to do what I hated all my life. I'm not going to allow this to go to the next generation. I've seen it happen with my mother, and I've lost my mother because of it, and I will not allow that to go to the next generation. And you actually had to make adjustments, during the course of the years to understand, so this is how you manage conflict. Tell the people about that.
Now, very funny because, it's like after I met you, you then had to restore me back to my natural state. You understand? Because even before, prior to me being abused, all right? Because even before the very first, do I call it altercation, took place, I couldn't believe it. Because of what? Because of how my father had raised me. You understand? Of how my father had raised me. Because I could not believe, what? This is not, I looked at myself in the mirror and I could not believe that, this is what I'm subjecting myself to. And is this really happening? And by the time you are starting to think about it, the next altercation happens and the next one happens and the next one happens. Then it becomes a cycle. All right? Now, we are talking about abuse. Now, just to, clearly state it out there, to say abuse always takes place when there is misuse of power in a relationship. Because abuse cannot, should I say abuse cannot take place outside of a relationship, because you need to have it's always within the confines of a relationship.
Sometimes it's actually, it becomes a proclivity for men that every time they see a woman, they see an object. And therefore, they even now go to an extent of abusing strangers. I mean, much of what we see today with domestic violence and gender-based violence is because certain people have allowed themselves to be, perpetrators. Because let me tell you, with every abuser, there is an opportunity to make a decision whether you become an abuser or you become one that will then protect victims.
That's powerful.
Or you're the one who victimizes.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying that I made a decision.
Yeah.
I made a decision, and I made a decision while I was young.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I was kicked out, is because I made a decision to say, listen, I don't care how young, I find myself to be. I'm not going to allow this to happen in my presence. And that's why, one of the reasons why, sometimes Barbara would have to hold me back when I see a man beating up a woman. So I don't think about my public status. I don't think about what I get to lose. I don't think about what might happen to me. All I think about is the decision I made when I was a baby, when I was a young man, to say, I will not allow this to happen in my presence. And that's one of the reasons why, today you're able to say this is not something that you have come to a place where you say, I don't even understand how I was able to live with that. It's because now you realize that this is how you need to be treated. You understand?
Yes.
You're treated like a queen. You're a treasure. And therefore, nobody will be going around throwing you wherever they want to throw you and beating you up, and nothing of that kind of nature should ever happen around you. You understand what I'm saying? There is always a choice. No abuser becomes an abuser without making a series of choices. You always make a choice to become an abuser. I mean, I lost a mother, for God's sake. I mean, psychologists will probably speak on my behalf and say, well, because of what happened to him as a young man, now he is, mentally, cloned to behave this way. No, you make a decision. You make a decision.
Now, if we have to define the misuse of power, all right, it says any act resulting in physical, sexual, or mental harm or suffering, right, including threats of such acts as coercion or control. Okay. Now, these acts can occur either in public or private life, all right? And then those who misuse power can do so in the following ways. The reason why we're giving you, because, it's important to have knowledge, because you might be going through abuse and not really realizing, because you understand that the person that abuses you will, because it's repetitive, they will want you to think that it's the norm. All right, they will want you to think that it's the norm. So verbally, all right, emotionally, intellectually, financially, all right, socially, culturally, psychologically, and physically. All right. Now, the abuse, remember we said we are speaking about the abuse, the abuser, and the abused. Now, the abuse is the act. All right, it is the act. All right, it is the improper usage or treatment of a thing, often to unfairly or improperly gain benefit, all right? And abuse is someone hurting, degrading, or controlling you. And it may occur, it may be emotional, physical, or even spiritual, all right? We have seen, it's also spiritual. Most abuse is repeated regularly and occurs in cycle or patterns, all right? Now, the abused is the victim. All right, it is the victim, the one who the act is done upon, right? The one who gets the improper treatment is the one who is the abused. And then the abuser is the perpetrator, all right? The one who holds the power, all right? The one who holds the power. Now, we know that information is key, and when you are in an abusive relationship, such information is going to be, becomes important, all right? And also knowing your rights and knowing knowing right from wrong is also a key. Knowing what signs to look out for if you're not dating and if you're not in a relationship, knowing what signs to look out for in order for you to be saved from it is always good to not go into that relationship. You understand? Unlike having to play prevention measures when you're already in the relationship. But when you are not in that relationship and you can see the red flags, trust me, if you see the red flags, don't even tell yourself, no, I will change him by doing this or I will change him by doing that. It doesn't work like that. You run away. You run away. All right? You run away. So like we said, and then most of the time, like we said, it's been proven that most of the perpetrators, the highest percentage of perpetrators are men, as far as the gender-based violence is concerned. All right? Now, I liked what you said in your men show, because ultimately, you know, we're here talking about how the man is the perpetrator, and we know that men are meant to be protectors.
That's right.
Right? And men are meant to be providers. All right? And you know, abuse, I say in my understanding, that it takes place when a man does not know his position.
That's right.
All right?
Yeah.
When a man does not know who he is, then he misuses his power.
Yeah, because...
And then abuse is inevitable at that point. All right? And I wanted you to take a look at 1 Peter 3, verse 7, that says, likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge. Giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel, and as being heirs together of grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered. You want to say something about that?
Yeah, so, and by the way, in the original Greek, that word honor, it's a subjunctive word for the word adoration.
Yes. Love your wife.
So we must not then use it out of context, you know. So you can imagine, for somebody's prayer life to be healthy, for a man's prayer life to be healthy, he has to then treat, you know, their very wife very well, you know, because spirituality and what we may refer to as, you know, domestic relationships are very tied together. I could not be a spiritual man and be an abuser at home. I cannot be a spiritual man and then be a monster at home.
Yes.
My success, you know, spiritually speaking, and my success, you know, to spiritually function well, you know, is a subject of my relationship with my wife and my kids. You know, it's a direct produce, you know, of my relationship with my wife. Sometimes if I really want to prophesy and minister prophetically and apostolically strong, guess what? I treat her so well and I go an extra mile. And then that becomes the flow of the anointing, because you are happy and you have released me to go and minister to God's people. And there is always such a strange move of God when your wife is happy and has released you to minister.
Now, I want you to talk to me about, you know, when I was reading this verse, and then I see it says, dwell with them according to knowledge. The other version says, dwell with them according to understanding. Therefore, you know, knowledge is power, all right? And you know how in the secular world they like to emphasize how, you can never understand women, you know, but the Bible says that you need to understand her in order to dwell with her. Yeah. You understand? You need to understand her. It's your responsibility as the man to dwell with her with understanding. Therefore, you are capacitated as a man to understand this woman. So you don't have an excuse. So it cannot be a thing of women are from Mars, men are from Venus. No. You must understand your woman. Yeah.
So the difference between a pathetic man and a prolific man is knowledge.
Thank you.
You know, and that is, men ought to continuously be studying, you know, parenting, sexuality, relationships, marriage, and all of that. We have to be continuous students. We have to be constant students of all of these competencies in order for us to, you know, competently deal with the matters of our life. You know, a man without knowledge is very dangerous because when there is a lack of knowledge,
Yes.
there is always going to be questions.
Yes.
All right? Women will always question your actions, will always question your decision. And if you don't have the logic behind some of the decisions that you have made, you're most likely then to impose your power. This is what I've realized, Barbara. If you have a conversation with a male man, all right, let's say a female and a male are having a conversation, most of the time, if a woman out-reasons the man will want to impose some sort of physical strength.
Yes.
Because that's all he has after all.
Yeah.
You understand?
That's true.
They said if it's empty in the brains, then you want to engage, you know, your muscles.
Yeah. Like,
If masculinity to you has to do with muscles,
yeah.
then you have lost the issue of manhood.
Yeah. Because if I have evidence in my hands,
Yeah.
and I am asking you respectfully,
Yeah.
why or what were you doing with this woman?
Yeah.
And here is the evidence.
Yeah.
Why are you beating me? Why are you beating me?
So what would make one a prolific husband is the ability to explain those SMS.
Explain yourself.
Yeah, explaining those text messages.
Explain
and
the text
liking
messages.
of certain pictures on social media.
Why must I be why must I be beaten because you went out and you
I
had
like
fun
that.
with
Yeah.
somebody and all of a sudden
now
you're
the-
caught out and you cannot articulate and you cannot reason. The reason behind you know, doing, that very act. No.
The ability. Now, remember I was talking about the importance of personal expostulation.
Yeah.
And that's why I want to say this, and this will make a lot of women uncomfortable. You see, if your man does not have the ability to create reasons, if he does not have reasons, you will have a problem. Because the creativity of Adam, naming things that you are seeing for the first time. I mean, imagine, this guy's in the garden, all right? And God gives him 2 giraffes, 2 chickens, 2 snakes, and he has the ability to name and say female and male, and that's called what, 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 and that the ability to give a name to something you're seeing for the first time. Because sometimes, you know what, a woman will catch you. A woman will catch you sometimes and say, "What is this?" Have you ever
Wake up.
Wake up. Earlier was in the morning. Say, "Darling, okay, let's talk." And you know it's trouble. Hey, what's happening?
Yes.
What is this?
Who's this?
Who's this? You understand? So if you cannot reason 3 hours, I mean, 3 o'clock in the morning, if you have no ability to explain 3 o'clock in the morning, you're going to be in trouble, man. You gotta have the ability to explain. And that's what I'm trying to teach my sons, to say, listen, your wife, let me tell you something. Your wife is not looking for a perfect man. She's just looking for a man who can explain himself. Don't get frustrated when you're asked questions.
And just make sure in your explaining, you don't lie.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
You don't lie. Whatever explanation you're going to give.
But you can be creative, love, right?
Be as creative as you want to be.
Yeah.
But do not lie. Because then that's going to cause another problem.
It's very important, isn't it, babe?
It is.
So I mean, a part of what really drew us closer was that in all of my mistakes, in all of my shortcomings, I was willing to explain myself and take time to really, and sometimes, listen, if you cannot communicate, try and make a connection with your words.
Yeah.
Sometimes, communication.
There's communication and then there's
connection.
Yes.
You try and make a connection. If you cannot, verbally explain in details what really happened, in every word that comes out of your mouth, make sure you make a connection. And sometimes women are not looking for the reasoning. They're looking for that connection.
Yeah.
Sometimes, if you sense that there's a there's a need for validation here or affirmation here. It's your responsibility to make sure that you take care of that.
Yeah.
All right.
So we're saying
Yeah.
the man must dwell with the woman with understanding. You got to be considerate to your woman. All right. If we are going to eliminate this gender-based violence, you have to be a man who is sensitive to your woman's needs, your woman's emotional needs, and your woman's physical needs.
Yeah.
All right. You have to be that man. You have to be a man that says, "I'm a protector." And you need to see yourself as a protector.
That's right.
And as a provider.
Yeah.
Then all these things that we are seeing, on the media and all this killing of women that is going on,
And there are realms of protection.
Yeah.
You protect her mentally.
Yes.
You protect her emotionally.
Yeah.
You protect her relationally, because then you have to make decisions to help her make certain decisions.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
protect her spiritually.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And you protect her physiologically or, physically.
Yeah.
It's your responsibility.
I'll give one form of protection as well. You know how I was talking even with my husband. I said, so somebody texts him, and then a female, and then he says, "No, do not text me. My wife will not like this," kind of a thing. And then we have a conversation. He's saying that in a form of protecting his wife, right?
Yeah.
And then, but when you delve deeper into it, we even went to an extent to say, you know what? So the other person on the other side
interprets it
totally different.
So the wife is the issue.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a problem with it.
Yes.
But the wife is the problem.
The wife is the problem. You're not supposed to say, "No, don't text me. I don't like it." It's not about the woman.
Yeah, leave my
it's about
wife
me.
out of this. Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
It's about me. It doesn't have anything
Don't
to do.
text me.
It doesn't have anything to do. So the abuser holds a power position in the relationship.
Oh, yeah, wait.
All right? Yeah.
Don't text me.
And we know that socialization experience is also why most victims of abuse are women. All right? And then the abuser believes that I tell you guys, the abuser believes they are central, they are superior, and deserving. This is the attitude of the abuser.
Yeah.
All right? And the sad truth is that when they believe that they're central, they're superior, and they're deserving, they believe that they're central. So all other become peripheral. All right? They believe that they are superior, and then all others become inferior.
Yeah.
All right? They believe that they are deserving, and then all others become subserving. All right? And women who are living in an abusive or as a woman, I'll tell you from personal experience, you live with an abuser, and your life is spent away tirelessly trying to appease the abuser. All right? Because they have a form of low self-esteem.
Yeah.
Now you, the victim, you're the one who's supposed to feed them. You're the one who's supposed to feed that.
And it's never enough.
It's never enough. It never works out. So the cycle is endless. All right, it becomes endless. The abuser blames the victim, and the victims take the blame. And it's an impossible attempt to appease the abuser. All right. Now it is important that as women, we understand first and foremost that the misuse of power is the abuser's problem that impacts the victim. The misuse of power is the abuser's problem, not the victim's problem.
Yeah.
That impacts the victim, and it is never a shared. Look, this. Listen. If I can just say one.
Sure.
If I can just one lady. Just one lady going through a situation.
Yeah.
You see these women, they are bruised, they are bloody, and then the woman is beaten up and battered, and then she's talking about, okay, maybe if I had not done 1, or maybe if I had not done 2, or I deserve this because just maybe if I did not, just maybe, look, it's not, no.
It's not your fault.
Stop right there.
Yeah, it's not your fault.
There is no excuse under the sun for any man to abuse you. I don't care if he found you sleeping with another man.
Yeah.
No reason at all.
To ever lift up his hand.
No reason. There is no excuse under the sun for a man who is supposed to protect you to then turn around and be a beast. The Bible talks about how we are the weaker vessels. All right? And that is literal. And I hear people trying to make it not. It's literal.
It's literal. It has to do with physical strength. Physical strength. Yeah.
You are here, you are a man built to be this strong person or to be this strong male, and you are not ashamed. You are not ashamed to lay those filthy hands on this woman.
Yeah.
No, we have to do better. We have to do better.
And this is what I've realized. Some of the most seasoned abusers, they have the ability to make the woman feel responsible for their behavior.
Yes, because it is a constant. Because they beat down on your self-confidence. They beat down on you and make it every time. They make it. Do you know that in my we always talk about this, but I remember in my previous marriage where I was the one who was being beaten. And then I was told to my face that you are the one that needs counseling. Do you understand? I'm the one that's battered and bruised. And you are telling me that I need to go, you have to go and see a counselor.
What a
you need to seek counseling. And I booked myself for counseling. And then I went for counseling. And then this woman is looking at me while she's counseling me. And, she had a conversation with me. Do you know, I took my bag and I stood up from that place. Because everything she was explaining to me, I knew. And the funny part is that the only reason why I was subjecting myself to such is because of religion. That's another topic for another day.
You see, that's a thing. Remember what we're talking about is to say religiosity is insanity.
Yeah.
All right? It's insanity because, I wonder how many women have subjected themselves to abusive marriages and abusive husbands simply because they are told that you can only divorce on the basis of sexual infidelity. And if this is the only reason that gives me then the way out of this marriage, it means then I have to then stick through the beating. I have to stick through listen, you don't understand this. In context, do you know that adultery is actually a psychological term? The word adultery, it means to then put one in a place of misuse. In other words, if I then have to then please you sexually, then I go please somebody. That's a form of abuse.
Yes.
That's a form of abuse.
Yes, it is.
And that's why I said at Man Cave that it's important for men to understand that, look, if anything, your wife's sexual pleasure comes first. It's important for you to take care of her sexual needs. It's also important for you to take care of every other need. So for me to go and then take care of another woman, that's a form of abuse. You understand what I'm saying? That's a form of abuse. It's psychological subjection.
Yeah.
All right, it's psychological subjection that causes one to come to a place where they think that they are inferior. Every time you go and then you take care of another woman's needs and you neglect your wife's needs, she's most likely to psychologically come to a place of feeling inferior, to say, oh, so I'm inferior. I'm probably not sexually attractive. That's why he's taking care of the other. That's a form of abuse. So adultery has nothing to do, infidelity is a part of it. But adultery is an inclusive word that says one that is abusive.
Yes.
You understand? So you can get out of marriage because somebody was physically abusive. You understand what I'm saying? Because what you're supposed to take care of, you're not taking care of it. You're destroying it. That's adultery. You know, that's adultery. Go and check the root word. It's not a sexual term, by the way. You know, you understand? It's a psychological term. It's the abuse that comes with that. Because if you are then sleeping with other people, neglecting your wife, she's most likely to come to a psychological conclusion that she is inferior, and that's why you're doing that.
Of course.
That's abuse, guys. Come on. I mean, how stupid can we be? So abuse is one of the reasons why some people should divorce.
Yeah.
As Christians, nobody should ever stay in a marriage where a man is physically abusive. No, to hell with that.
Yeah, definitely. Now,
so you should not allow religion then to keep you as a captive in the name of what would people say if I leave him because he's physically abusive?
Batter me to death.
I don't care about.
Now there's if somebody is a perpetrator, all right, a positive change can only occur when the one who misuse their power admits their behavior is unacceptable and begin changing their unhealthy belief system. That's, you understand? If you are in a relationship, that's the only alternative. You cannot change something that you don't admit to. You cannot solve a problem where you are not admitting to say, okay, you know what, I actually have a problem with this, and I want to fix it and realize, and you are conscious that you have a problem with this and you want to fix it within the relationship. That's when the change.
I love what you're saying. So I want you to say that again, because you know what, there is a disorder that the Bible refers to as an egomaniac.
Yeah.
So you're so consumed in your ego. You're so consumed by your ego that you are able to give a reason why you're abusive.
Yeah, and that's a problem.
You're able to, You're able to give a reason why you exploit other people.
Yeah.
You're able to give a reason why you beat up your wife. You're able to give a reason why you're doing what you're doing. You financially exploit your family. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what we call an egomaniac. Your ego is so big that you cannot see any form of light.
There's no remorse there.
Yeah. There's no remorse. You're not remorseful at all. There's no remorse at all because you have come to a place where you have made yourself a god.
Yeah.
And therefore you're not conscious to the reality that you're subjecting other people to. You understand what I'm saying?
Girls, be careful out there.
Be
careful.
And Barbara, let me probably say this in passing. That's one of the reasons why I knew I had to marry you and make sure that you're covered. If you have been in this kind of a situation for all these years, it's my responsibility as a black man to make sure that you're covered.
Yeah.
It's my responsibility because my loyalty is to a black woman. And I'm not being racial. But my first loyalty as a black man is to a black woman. Because this is a generational issue in the black community. Black men don't know how to treat black women as queens. You understand? Because of some of the things that has happened in our own lives and our fathers being abusive and all of that, we actually think that you women are inferior because that's how we saw these men treat our black sisters. So I knew that marrying you was not just an economical, decision. And what I mean by that is I knew that what we were going to make together was going to go to the next generation. It was also a social decision because you cannot be another black woman subjected to domestic abuse, gender-based violence, and then I'm there, and then I decide, look, let me go look for another privileged woman out there. I cannot do that.
Yeah.
You understand? If there was an opportunity for me to do better by my mother, is to taking care of another black woman, so that what happened to my mother will not happen to you.
Yeah, I hear you.
You understand what I'm saying? Isn't it that my mom died because of gender-based violence? Right? All right, so when we look at the autopsy, they said she was not only sick with HIV and AIDS, she was strangled.
Yeah.
That's gender-based violence. And we know who strangled him, and the guy is dead. You understand what I'm saying? So how then do I dare look at you, and you have all the qualities that I need in a woman, and then I don't position myself to be a blessing to you? That's wickedness. Listen, if there's anybody who's going to solve the gender-based violence complexity that we are faced with, it's our black men.
Yeah.
It's our white men.
Taking that position.
We have to then, as men, take our position and make sure that we are taking care of these women. We make sure that what happened to our mothers, what happened to our sisters, what happened to the people that we love will not happen to the women in our lives.
That's correct.
It's our responsibility.
That's correct.
You understand what I'm saying? I mean, part of why I have all these guns is because I'm taking care of you.
Yeah.
Well, why am I buying guns and getting all of these certifications? It's because I'm taking care of a woman.
Now, I want us to
So I will destroy any man that will get in the way of making sure that she feels secure.
Yeah.
Man, I will whoop you out. I will make sure that I take care of you properly.
Don't try. It.
So I totally mean it. I lose my cuckoo every time, anybody would want to make women in my life insecure.
Yeah, I know.
I just lose my marbles. I don't pray about it. I take care of it.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
Aren't you a pastor?
Oh, pastor. Oh, I'll pray for you when I'm done. That's when I'll do the prayer.
I'll beat you up and resurrect you.
I won't be praying about, oh Lord, this man is a problem. And is abusing and is making my wife, taking the security of my wife away. Listen.
You'll tell that story of how you did
so
no,
somebody.
Don't tell them.
It's okay. No. So somebody came to my house, all right? We won't mention names. So this gentleman came to my house, and when he got in, so he's like very verbally abusive. So I realized, okay, you know what? My kids are here. So the wisest thing would be taking him outside. I said, hey, man, let's talk outside, man, And Barbara was like very angry. I was like, no, be calm, honey, be calm. Hey, man, come, let's talk. So I checked if the kids are around and all of that. I said, hey, brother, you see what you have done right here? Because the guy was taking advantage because he knew that I was a preacher. So he says, you're a pastor. What, speaking evil, speaking all bunch of nonsense. He was abusing his wife, and my wife was trying to protect his wife. So he comes to my wife and trying to do the same thing that he's doing to his wife. I said, man, you've come here at the wrong time because my protocol is not here. My PA was not there. They normally were the people to talk to him and really send him off. So that day I was in the house. So that was a wrong day, So this guy, verbally abusive, and he's all like banging doors and all of that. I said, hey, let's talk outside. He's thinking, man, he's a clergyman. He's probably going to deal with this theologically in the most systematic way. I said, let's talk outside. And when we got to the other side of the house, I checked if the kids could see me or my wife was still in the house. Everybody was still in the house. So I gave him a good jab just to check him, And then he fell. I got angry. I said, bro, you're not going to fall that quick. Not after what you did. You need to stand up. I want to take care of you. So this guy falls in the dustbin and there was trash all over. I got angry. I said, hey, I'm taking care of you. I beat him up. Oh, man. I beat him up so bad. I wanted to make sure that every combination I know is utilized. I whooped him so bad. My wife came rushing with the kids. And then my wife was like, Prof, stop it. If you don't stop, I'm taking the kids to vendor. I said, you see, you are destroying my marriage. So now it's no longer about beating you. I'm going to kill you now. So my wife grabbed me by the T-shirt. I slipped out of the T-shirt. And I was like, boy, you better come here. And the guy's big, you know, all thick and all of that. I was like, hey, listen, don't let my vertical disadvantage fool you. I'm dealing with you right now. Yeah. I cleaned him up. All the neighbors came and they say, Pastor. I remember the white woman was saying, Reverend, please come down, Reverend. I was like, you're calling me Reverend at the wrong time. I need to revere this man. You know, I took what is it? Is it I plucked out a cement out of the wall, out of the ground. I wanted to like really bury him, you know?
Yeah.
And the guy could not walk, and he was like beaten up. He called the police. And when he called the police, remember? And the police was like, where are you? He says,
no, we're not coming there.
I'm at the pastor's house. Which pastor? Kenneth Molefe. He's beating me up here. And the police says, we're not coming here. We're not going there at all. Because some of the sergeant, I was the one training them boxing at the gym. So they're like, what? No, we're not coming there. And they came about, 3 hours later to say, Pastor, are you fine? Is the guy gone? I was like, no, he's gone. He will not come back here. And guess what? The guy, very humble when he meets me now. As if nothing happened. And he says to me, hey, Pastor, how are you? Oh, no, the Lord is good. And then he tells his friends, this guy.
I promise you, this guy's a pastor.
No, I'm a man of God.
I promise you.
So here's the thing. Abuse around me cannot be tolerated.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm trying to say to men. Mm-hmm. One of the things that really reveals the core of your manhood is that you don't tolerate abuse of women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I want to talk about, I know that you and I are writing a book. And it's about the power and control wheel. Mm-hmm. And the love versus respect wheel as well.
Yeah.
All right. Now, the power and control wheel is what the abuser uses. All right. It's a method that the man will use to try and force their women into submission. Yeah. They use that. So instead of loving her to submission, you beat her to submission. Or, I don't know if that really works because it's like forced submission is not submission. I don't know if you get me.
Sure, it's abuse.
It's abuse. It's abuse.
If you cannot love her to submission, then she's probably not your wife.
There we go.
You know.
And then the following tactics is the tactics that the abusive partner uses to keep their victim, all right, in the relationship, all right, physical and sexual violence, using intimidation, using emotional abuse, using isolation, all right, minimizing, denying, and blaming, all right, using children. And you know this is something that we're going through, all right? Imagine somebody's abusing you, you're already out of that relationship, but the abuse extends even to your next marriage because somebody's using your children in order to abuse you by a form of keeping your children away from you. All right?
And that's part of what we're dealing with today.
You understand? Using male privilege, using economic abuse, using coercion and threats. All right? Now, I wanted to talk about the types of abuse.
Yeah.
Because understanding the common types of abuse will better prepare you, all right, to identify them when you see them, all right? I mean, you get into a relationship and you are clueless, you are naive, you are this person, you're this girl, you don't know anything. And then it starts happening to you and you think that's the normal. and that's why we have this kind of shows, to empower you and to give you knowledge.
So what are the different forms of abuse?
So physical abuse, all right? So physical abuse is any intentional, unwanted contact with you or something close to your body, or any behavior that causes or has the intention of causing you injury, disability, or death.
Number 2.
All right? Now, examples of physical abuse is scratching, punching, biting, strangling, choking, throwing items at you, pulling your hair. Now, I want you to repeat that sentence that you said the other time when we were discussing the subject in church, where we said, somebody may throw an item at you, like you throw an item at me. Is that abuse?
Throw an item.
An item.
Yeah.
I may take, and then throw an item at you. But I remember you discussing to say, in the context of abuse, it's the intention behind the throwing of the item is what we are talking about. All right? The intention behind the pulling of your hair. Somebody may pull your hair for pleasure. I know you pull my hair for pleasure.
It's okay. It's okay, yeah.
Forcing you to have sex or perform a sexual act as a form of abuse. Grabbing your face to make you look at them. You're looking at them and forcing them to. Preventing you from leaving or forcing you to go somewhere. And then emotional and verbal abuse. Now, this is non-physical behaviors such as threats, insults, constant monitoring or checking in, excessive texting, humiliation, intimidation, isolation, or stalking.
Yeah.
All right? And this includes calling you names or putting you down, telling you what to do or what to wear, yelling or screaming at you, all right? Preventing you from seeing or communicating with your friends or family, or threatening to have your children taken away from you, damaging your property, using online communities or communications to control, intimidate, or humiliate you, all right? And then we have sexual abuse, which is what we also touched on.
Yeah.
Sexual abuse refers to any behavior that pressures or coerces someone to do something sexually, that's type of drinking something, that they don't want to do, all right? And then examples of sexual abuse is unwanted kissing or touching, unwanted rough or violent sexual activity, unwanted, refusing to use condoms or restricting someone's access to birth control and things like that.
Yeah.
And also we talked about how, I'll tell you, for example, my sexual abuse was, in my previous marriage, was lack of
it.
Sex, or sexual pleasure. What do I call it? That's a form of abuse. You can't let your...
It's actually wicked. It's actually very,
wickedness.
very wicked to neglect somebody's sexual needs when you're married to them.
Yeah.
It's wickedness, if not witchcraft.
Yes, no. Thank God.
The occultic, no.
Thank God for my marriage. Thank God for my
Let's go. Financial abuse. All right? Financial abuse.
I totally forgot about
financial abuse.
So financial...
Yeah.
Financial abuse. Financial abuse often operates in more subtle ways than other forms of abuse. And this is very dangerous, okay? But it can be just as harmful to those who experience it. And then the example of financial abuse include giving you an allowance or monitoring what you buy. All right? Don't monitor what I buy.
Yeah.
You give me an allowance and you want to be monitoring. All right? The intention behind the monitoring. Depositing your paycheck into an account you can't access. Preventing you from seeing shared bank accounts or records. That's one of the things that I experienced. Preventing you from going to work by taking your car keys or other mode of transportation. Getting you fired by harassing you, your employer, or your co-workers.
Sure.
Hiding or stealing your student financial aid check or other financial support. Using your social security. And then there's digital abuse, all right? And then digital abuse, dating abuse is the use of technologies, and we are in the age of technology, all right? Texting and social media, bullying, harassing, stalking, intimidating your partner, all right? Now, we know that all communication in a healthy relationship is respectful. In a healthy relationship, it's respectful. Yeah. Whether in person, whether online, or whether on the phone. If you have a healthy relationship, then that healthy relationship is a respectful relationship. All right? Examples of digital abuse, telling you who you can or can't follow or be friends with on social media, sending you negative, insulting, or threatening messages or emails, using social media to track your activities, all right? Stealing or pressurizing you to share your account passwords, looking through your phone or checking up on your pictures, texts, and okay.
Yeah, but that's not abuse.
The intention.
The intention.
The intention behind
you
it.
know my passwords.
I know your password.
And you
I
had
didn't
to
force you to give me your password.
But you explained why you need my password.
I explained very thoroughly why I got to have your passwords. All right, because it was not going to work for me.
Yeah.
It was never going to work for me to not have your passwords. All right, stalking.
Yeah.
Stalking occurs when someone watches, follows, or harasses you repeatedly, making you feel afraid or unsafe.
That's right.
All right? Now, showing up at your home or workplace unannounced or uninvited, sending you unwanted texts, messages, letters, emails, or voicemails, leaving you unwanted items, gifts, or flowers, using social media or technology to track your activities, spreading rumors about you online. All right?
And can I say that? Sometimes we think rumors is what women do. Men are gossipers.
I know, right?
And sometimes men gossip more than women.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like they have this, sense of gratification from it. Mm-hmm. You know?
I think it's the female part you were talking about.
The
female version.
The female part of manhood.
Guys, thank you so much. This is the First Ladies Corner.
Yeah.
I'm really, I really hope that, today's session gave you an idea. There's so much.
So
this
in 1 minute, in 1 minute, we have to tell them what is it that they can do if they are faced with all of this. Number one, we then have to report it. We have to report it to either a close friend and somebody that knows a whole lot about that and how to deal with it. So don't go to stupid people with no sense of idea of how to deal with abuse. Go to people you have heard address such issues before.
Number two, know that it is not your fault. Find somebody you think, or you are able to trust and talk to them about it. And then the other thing is, make sure that when you do your exiting, in whatever form, you are safe. Because at the end of the day, we want to preserve your life. All right? And the other thing is, if you are looking for more information or you are going through, if you suspect that you are going through some form of abuse or any form of abuse that we have discussed today, please contact us. We have resources, all right? And if you are a women's shelter or you are a non-profit organization that helps with such things, please get in contact with us and we'll put up your details in our next show to say, this is people who are able to assist in this regard because we can't do this alone, all right? We need to hold hands together. I hope you guys really enjoyed the show. Listen, it's Monday for my ladies, There's still a whole lot of topics that we need to discuss. Careers, marriages, children, men. All right? Monday, 7 p.m. Sunday, I'll see you Sunday for our Sunday services. On Wednesday, we have our 7 p.m. service. When are you having your men's show?
It's normally on Friday nights.
Friday nights at 7 p.m. It's the man talking. So we get to listen in with the man talking. I love you. My name is Barbara Taylor Molefe. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. First Lady's Corner Show. This is the place for you. We love you.